host, ScottyB. Friends, the most patient and disciplined guest. You may remember him from the beginning of season 3 with many new cosplay creations, collaborations, and a solid yet humble demeanor. He continues to dazzle the community with his characterizations from many different fandoms and truly continues to set an example for positivity, dedication to himself and his craft, and to strive to become the best version of himself and his cosplays in the process. Please welcome back to the show for season 4, Anthony Cosjitsu.
How you doing, Scotty? How's it been?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing? It's been a little bit, and man,
Yeah,
it's good to see. It's good to have you back on. I'm glad we've had some time to kind of go back and forth a little bit, and that everything worked out to have you on. It's
yeah,
awesome.
no, I'm glad. I had reached out. I was like, I got a lot of new cosplays coming through, and I enjoyed the conversation we had last year leading into season 3, and I was like, I got to hit you up again and have another conversation and kind of kick it off with season 4. So
Yes, and
these are going to be one of those things I feel like we're going to do at the beginning of every season. So I can't wait.
yeah, you might end up being the Steve Martin, like Steve Martin is to Saturday Night Live. You'll be the guest that comes back on and kind of pinch hits. Um, anytime you want, really anytime you want to be on the show. It's always a pleasure to have you. It's great to get into the nuts and bolts of all of the things that you're working on and just everything that you see from your perspective going on in the community. I know we've got tons of things to catch up on. And like I said, it's been a hot minute since we've been able to really catch up.
Right.
And you've got lots of updates. I want to ask you about martial arts, and I want to ask you about training and cosplay. I mean, there's a lot of different places to start.
Yeah.
I guess I'll leave it up to you where you kind of like to jump in on what's been going on this last year.
Yeah, so I mean, I know we're gonna get into a lot of cosplay talk, so I'll just start with the other stuff that's been going on in my life. So, as you brought up martial arts, I've been a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner for, honestly, October is gonna make it 10 years for me. So,
Wow.
yeah, I'm still going along at purple belt. When the pandemic started, I probably talked about this last time. It hindered a lot of the training we were able to do. So there was a good portion where the school wasn't open and we weren't able to. It's a full contact sport.
Yep. Yeah. I guess for folks that don't know some of the differences, like Taekwondo is probably the easiest to do by yourself,
Probably
whereas
the safest. Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu is probably the hardest to do on your own. I would
Yeah,
say,
like
arguably.
Taekwondo and any striking martial art, you can either stand far away from your opponent, or you can just do shadow boxing, or just do regular training with any sort of trainer with a mask on, or things like that. Can you grapple? Could you grapple on your own? Not really. Maybe if you have a grappling dummy, but it's still not the same. You still need an opponent to even get drilling in too. You need a live body. I've been training a good amount. It's been on and off. The consistency, there was a certain point where the consistency wasn't there, but I did find my way back, and did sign up for another year coming up. So I am going to make it through, and I am going to definitely complete at least 10 years coming up, and my goal is to, at least by the end of the year, or at least the beginning of next year, get to brown belt. And then from there, hopefully it only takes me a few years to get to black belt. So, the journey's been long. It's been a little bit longer than others. But a lot of people have come. I've trained with a lot of people that have come through, and just the list gets, shorter and shorter as you go higher up in the belts. There's so many people that try it one time or try for a few months, and it's just not for them, or their mindset's just not there to get through with it. So that's what makes me proud of where I am right now. Yes, I wish I could have got through it sooner, but the vast majority of people can't say they're still on this journey. So that's what I'm really proud about. So
I mean, and I was kind of on and off for years too.
Yeah.
But I always felt like if I didn't get all the way to black belt, that it would feel really incomplete.
That's why I'm still going. It would
Yeah.
just sit right with me if I didn't get that black belt. So and I was just gonna say something, and and now I'm blanking on it.
No worries. I mean, it's actually kind of a stark contrast for me because I work so hard to complete martial arts training and get my
Yeah.
black belt, but I have like 5 cosplays that are just hanging out right now and not complete. So it's like maybe I should apply the same philosophy to this.
Yeah,
And I
well,
think
one of my favorite samurai, he's a Ronin, Miyoda Masashi, says, if you know the way broadly, you'll see it in everything. So you know what it takes to get to a certain point in martial arts or anything else. So it's the same amount of effort, the same amount of hard work in cosplay as well. It all of it translates over into anything you do in your life. So
And I think I probably get the same reaction from people when I tell them that I do these things. Is like when you walk up to somebody that you've known for a little bit and like they see you in a certain light, like if they're coworkers or so on, they see
yeah,
you as that person that they work with, and then you tell them that you have this martial arts background, and they look at you like, you know about martial arts. And it's kind of the same way with cosplay. Like if you tell people you're a cosplayer, they look at you and they're like, what's a
yeah,
cosplay?
yeah,
And you're like, oh well, it's it's costume play, it's all these fun things that we
and
do.
it's funny because like there's a lot of people in my life, like I do have like well, obviously there's a cosplay community, but there's people and maybe just friends outside of cosplay where they're just like they don't understand what cosplay is.
Mhm.
And then like they saw me in Kylo and they were like, what you did there was like really cool. I don't mean to jump ahead to Kylo, but I
Oh
just wanted
yeah,
to give
we have it's well yeah, no problem.
I just wanted to give that as like just something that you were talking about. So yeah, I'm sorry, continue.
Yes, Kylo was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can jump around a little bit. I'm sure there's no problem there. But yeah, there are lots of cosplays to talk about. Also, New York Comic Con
Yeah.
this past year, you were involved with going to the con, and really just some of the bands lifting. So how did it feel going to a pretty major con? I'd say it's like one of the top, at least in the top 5, if not the
Yeah.
top 3. I mean, it's huge.
I mean,
How did it
it's
feel?
probably top two in terms of this country. It might be top two because along with San Diego, New York Comic Con's right there next to it. I don't know of anything bigger.
Is Dragon
But
bigger? I don't know if Dragon Con is bigger.
Dragon,
It's
ooh,
longer, maybe.
Dragon's pretty big. I mean, Dragon's definitely in the top 5 for sure. I think Dragon is up there. Definitely in terms of like celebrities, it brings as well. So it's definitely up there. There's a lot of great cosplays there. It's more so known for being a huge party con,
Yeah,
and
yeah, it's like whole man
we'll
cubed. Yep.
yeah, and that'll be part of my plans later this year. But we'll get back to that later on. But you mentioned New York Comic Con with the bands.
Yeah.
Actually, truth be told, we have to rewind a little bit because my first con back was not actually NYCC. It was Garden State Comic Fest in New Jersey, and that was on June 5th, I think. And I I was there, and we did a little bit of Naruto. I was there with KO Fitness,
Mhm.
my good friend Kevin. So, and I did another version of Zabuza there. So it was a small con, but that was my first one back. In terms of my first big one back, yeah, it was NYCC, and with the protocols lifted and going back and reuniting with people and seeing everyone that you might have not seen in a long time, it was like I didn't really know what to expect. I will say this though, kudos to NYCC on getting the vaccination wristbands, because all you had to do was kind of just flash it for 2 seconds on your phone. They put it on your wrist, and you were going to the con. Like that's all. And the lines were not long. It was literally they were just boom, 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 5 seconds with each person. They sent us to a different lot. There was probably 20 workers there. That's why it was kind of like boom, 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 no line. Like, and then you're just walking NYCC and
Oh,
you're
that's
showing your
nice.
wristband. Um,
Smooth.
and they obviously did require masks, so that was something I had to follow. And yeah, it was pretty great. And there was like because I was coming back to this con with some new projects going on, and I know and we can definitely go into them. Overall the con was great. My cosplays for that con, I brought back Kakashi, and we actually got some shots in with Viz Media came
Ooh,
down. Yeah. And we
How
got
did that go?
that was
It's
pretty
pretty
that
cool.
that was pretty good. That was pretty good. That wasn't even, they just found us. Like
Oh,
that wasn't even planned. They just found us, and it was, I was Kakashi, I had a friend as Naruto, another friend as Asuma, and then KO Fitness was there as Kakashi in a Kakashi shirt. So he was kind of like a doppelganger in a way. There's always this joke that we're a doppelganger, so it worked out real well.
yeah, and
So
you play off of each other so well when you're at cons. I always like to see the pictures when you
it's
guys are
and
interacting together. It's
we have
great.
like similar personality. Like we became the best of friends. It's crazy. And to finish off the con, I did the Spider-Verse shoot with him as Peter B that we can go into detail with. Later changed into Sub-Zero and did kind of like a little Mortal Kombat squad. And then and your favorite, I did on Saturday, I did Ezio from Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
Oh,
So
so good.
take that, take all that, and whatever you want to know from that, fire away.
I'm going to say the name wrong. Ezio Auditorio de Firenze.
Ezio Auditori da Firenze. Yeah.
Yes.
You can do
You're
Firenze or
so much better
Firenze.
at it.
Whichever one. You can do Firenze or Firenze. Yeah. I'm of
But
Italian descent, so I guess it's natural for me. So
yeah, Assassin's Creed goes way back for me.
yeah.
Getting the original video game way back and playing the heck out of it. It was just such a fun game. So, but really the cool thing was,
Huge Assassin's Creed fan, man.
I mean, just
Ezio is my favorite assassin. So
all of the details to his costume, just like the hood and just like the aura of the character in general. Super cool. Would love to go through that. And then even some of the shots that you took with Jason LeBoy photography.
yeah.
Overall, love to kind of break this cosplay down.
No, of course. Oh, confession, by the way, with me playing Assassin's Creed, I got into it a little late in 2012. I started on Assassin's Creed 3, which I wish I didn't, because like that whole Desmond Miles arc, I pretty much got the tail end of it, and I was like, how did we get to this point? And then like I was gonna buy Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and I was like, I need to know what happens here. So like I kind of went on YouTube and found like all the game movies, and kind of just to try to learn what happened. Then played 4, then went back and actually played the other games leading up to 3, and then from there I've still played all the main games. But sorry to digress. You wanted to go into detail.
No, actually, do you have a favorite of the 4 that you've played?
A favorite game?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, there's been so many games at this point. I think it's between Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, which are my favorite games. Along with sometimes it's hard to not pick Assassin's Creed 3, because I know a lot of people don't like that game because of the way it ended, but I really love 3, and I'm a big fan of
the gameplay for 3 was really well done. Brotherhood was really good too.
And the highlighted assassinations they had, and I really love Connor. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I do love Connor. And then in terms of like the more later games, I do recommend people buy Odyssey. In terms of the RPG styled Assassin's Creed games, Odyssey was probably the best out of the last 3 ancient civilizations they visited. So yeah. So that's my favorite. Yeah.
So just like a quick breakdown, was this, I mean, did you make everything for the costume, or how did you put everything together, and what was the main reference for the costume? Did you blend things, or did you go with like a specific game character?
Yeah, no. So I commissioned it from a cosplayer. Her name is McHeretic. So I commissioned it from her. It was all made by her, and the sword as well. I did have my own boots, and that's about it. I'm blanking now. It's not a combination of different pieces. It's actually fully replicates from Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Between like the belt buckle and like the thing over the shoulder, and the sword that you get different swords throughout the game. I just chose that one. It looked like his master sword, so I had went with that one. Actually, the blades and the gauntlets actually I'll confess those are bought. Even though I do want to have someone, and I do know a couple of people I can reach out to make real blades for me that actually go out and retract on whatever, some sort of will within the blade, or some sort of like motion that you could bring it out and bring it back. Other than that, yeah, the rest of it was commissioned, and
No,
and
it turned out just really well done. You wear it so
yeah,
well,
no, thank you very
and
much.
like the
And
way that you carry yourself in the costume, it's
yeah,
just
yeah, that I was gonna say, that's the other
super
part.
cool.
The rest of it was me. The rest of it was me just knowing the poses, and just kind of like getting all that down. And when I first brought out to NYCC, I was fortunate to shoot with Jason the Boy. So great photographer.
Yeah,
We
he is
got it.
yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, right now I have like 4 different shoots I've had with him, 4 different cosplays so far. So yeah, he's great. He's great to work with. I actually shot Kakashi with him that weekend, and then we did Ezio, and oh wait, he actually did Sub-Zero that weekend for me too. I forgot.
Whoa, yeah,
And
busy weekend.
a lot of the latest Kylo shots of me he's had too. So yeah.
You know,
So big
and
shout out to him, and yeah, if you want your next shoot, please hire him.
yeah, he's amazing. He does such a great job of capturing cosplays. He gets the right moments, and just a really like he's super cool. Like it just really like seems like really like easygoing to work with. So
Yeah,
yeah, just fantastic. Everything came out so wonderfully
yeah.
from those shoots for those things that you shared
Yeah.
online.
Shout out to
One,
Samson Dula as well.
oh, there we go. Yeah. Hope she's doing well. You know, again, another one of my repeat guests
Yeah.
from previous seasons. But yeah, the you were at Anime New York City, or Anime NYC, as it's sometimes referred to. All right, so there's this Ichigo and
Yes.
Inosuke, and then Serban. Is it Serban or Serban?
So it's Inosuke and
Inosuke.
Serban.
Serban. Okay, because
Yeah.
Serban, I had to look him up
Yeah.
because he was really intriguing. I liked what I was seeing, and like it's super cool. Like he's just super cool. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I didn't know anything about him, but I had to look it up. Seven Deadly Sins,
Yeah.
super deep character, lots going
Yes.
on with him. Like
Yeah. Please watch Seven Deadly Sins. It's a really good show.
yeah, it's a very well done. And you did it was just a really well done character.
I gotta give a big shout out to Liza, my girlfriend, Liza _ cosplay. So who's who I love so much, by the way. And she did a great job with helping me put that cosplay together with the makeup, and actually pushing me to do the do the version of him with the crop top, because I was gonna kind of do a version with him. She did all the makeup for me, which came out phenomenal. She helped me with the eye coloring which matched the wig. Shout out to Kyrie, by the way, on who's done a lot of my anime wigs. So, and she like I said, she convinced me to do the crop top. I was gonna do the one with where he's traveling with the coat, but you know, I went with his main I kind of sucked it up and went with his main version. Not that I'm like self-conscious or anything like that. It's just like the whole crop top thing. I was just like, I was like, I'll since you're pushing me to really do that, to really do this, I'm gonna do it. And it came out phenomenal. And yeah, no, I have to give her a lot of credit for really helping me out with that. And she was also my Deanne for the shoot as well. Obviously, the Serpent Sin of Envy, right, Deanne? I'm the Fox Sin of Greed. So I snatched up Deanne, even though Deanne is supposed to be with Sir King. I know you haven't watched too much of it, but you'll as you watch it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, no, she was with me with that, and then the next day, sorry if I'm jumping ahead, I don't know if you still want to talk about Bond.
No,
But
go ahead. Yeah.
so
Yeah,
the next day
definitely.
we did I did Ichigo, which I've done before, and for the first time she showed off her Yoruichi, which came out phenomenal. and we got a bunch of shots from that, which I'm sure you've seen on Instagram as well. So and then the next day, I did Inosuke, and I actually have to give a big shout out to Kuya1236, my good friend Reggie, who is he's an ICU nurse, and through the entire pandemic, he 95, almost 100% of his floor was full of COVID patients, and
Oh my goodness.
he was strapped up, masked, everything, and throughout the whole time we were kind of like social. We still went golfing. We were like social distancing in different carts, and he went through and never tested positive for COVID somehow, and thankfully as well.
Yeah, good for him.
Big shout out to him.
To be on the front lines like that.
Want to give a big shout out to him because on the topic of Inosuke, I'm a Inosuke for his we call it Kimetsu-kan, because Demon Slayer in Japanese is Kimetsu no Yaiba, something like that. So we call our squad Kimetsu-kan. It's like roughly around 20 of us in different characters from Demon Slayer. And the first event was at Lightbenders last August. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of things from last year. We've there's a bunch of things even the summer that we can definitely talk about as well. But that was one of them. I was actually like the big assistant for his shoot for that shoot, because the character Inosuke wasn't available and I was gonna wait. So but I was still a big part of it, So and then at Anime NYC, I came in as a Inosuke, and we just did a whole shoot and just different characters, and most of the Kimetsu family was there. So big shout out to him for bringing that big group together, because it's a group of great people, drama free, everyone gets along. So
that's always great. It's always great when you can bring.
And I also have to shout out Liza.
It's so hard to do.
I also have to shout out Liza again, because she did my wig for me, and with my blades, make them more Inosuke legitimate, and had helped me sheath them, and she helped me out a lot that weekend. So big shout out to her again as well. So yeah, that definitely covers my cosplays and my time at that weekend. Although I do have to add in, sorry, I keep going on a tangent. A little disappointed with the way everything was set up with Anime NYC.
Okay. Yeah, what was going on?
Yeah, the joke was LineCon, because it took us like the Friday. It took us so much time to get the wristbands and to get in. We were probably online for 2 hours before we were able to get in. I was lucky to show a pro pass and get in sooner than when most people were waiting. So it was just, over the few days they got their SHIT together, but it was disappointing at first. You know what I mean? It was understaffed. It was, I know with COVID a lot was going on, but it's like, NYCC did it, and then you just came along and just, I'll give them another chance. I have tickets to go next year. I'll give them another chance, but I'm saying this right now because they really got to step up their game for next year. So they turned a lot of people off from wanting to go again. So
and
anyway.
I think that's fair feedback, because I know a lot of the cons, they wanted to get started up, but I think they might have maybe prematurely, they got everything going, but they didn't necessarily plan for what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's too bad. That just sounds like a huge night and day between Anime New York NYC and New York Comic Con.
Yeah.
Just New York Comic Con again, just having their stuff together. Maybe they're just a little bit more accustomed to just having lots of people show up.
I'm really hoping they learn their lessons, and hoping with COVID probably being less prominent towards the end of the year. Not saying it's gone completely, but every wave is tinier and tinier. So hopefully by the end of the year they realize, okay, we need more staff, or maybe the restrictions are going to be different. Maybe they're not checking for wristbands. Who knows at this point? Maybe they assume everyone's vaccinated. So I'll definitely give them another shot. It was just 1 year. They don't really have a track record like that. So and I'm definitely going to go back again to those cons at the end of the year again that are around here. So yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. And really just going back to the team ups and just how complicated that can be, especially when you're dealing with a group of so many people. Like 20 cosplayers can get very, it can get very disorganized very quickly if you're not careful.
I
But
have so many stories on how on having big groups that it's taken, so even some of my own, that's taken like a ridiculous amount of time to put together. So you hit the nail on the head with that one. And yeah, and also Liza came in as Ray that weekend. Yeah, so but by the way, that was Katsucon weekend, by the way, where Liza and I teamed up as Belmont and Sypha from Castlevania, and also
and that
Kylo
was
and
awesome.
thank you.
Super awesome. Those are like some of my favorite characters ever, and you guys just nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. It was so cool.
I mean, like everything we're talking about right now, from like, you know, from the last, like even say like last 5 I've done, Ezio, Ban, Inosuke, Belmont, Kylo, like, you know, like those right there that have happened towards the end of the year into the beginning of this year. I am the most proud of, like, to push something like that out in such, like, you know, like a half year's worth of time. And definitely thankful for all the people that helped me. And you know, like it's that's why I try to encourage people, like, you know, like and people, like, you know, I'm always hard on myself. I'm always like, you know, I always tell myself this wasn't good enough or something like that. I know at the end of the day, like I know how well I do something, but like this is the reason why I tell myself that, like, you know, it could be better. I didn't do good enough here. I didn't do good enough there, because as I've been going along this journey, I've hit points where I was like, okay, like this Pain cosplay I did for Naruto and did the Akatsuki shooter was like, okay, like yeah, like I've really hit a new level here. And then like I'll do something else and I'll be like, oh, I did even better. And then, like, you know, all these cosplays come across and I'm like, wow, it's like it's just like amazing. I'm not trying to like I'm not the type that that ever really gloats or anything. I try to remain as humble as possible, but you know, I just have a lot of there's just a lot of pride in what I did.
You work super hard, and definitely, you know, being able to recognize improvements and things like that, like that's
Yeah.
just looking back and saying, you know, I started here and now I'm here, and that's amazing. Like I think sometimes, especially in the cosplay community, we minimize that. Like we don't always give ourselves
Yeah.
any credit. Maybe
Yeah.
there's maybe like things going on inside of the community that make us think we're not supposed to say things like that. Like it
Yeah.
really, like that inner dialogue. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
No, not at all.
I think, yeah, you should celebrate
I
that
think
you
it's
did put
great
that
to be
much work into it. Yeah.
look, I think it's great to be really proud of something that you're working on. I think if you know your worth, then you should know your worth. There's nothing wrong with saying like, okay, I'll do this for you. It's going to cost X amount of money, you know. And like you said, there's a lot of expectations. Like, you know, there's, you know, you don't really come across people that, like, you know, say things like that. Everyone is usually kind of introverted to themselves. They're super, you know, it's just like compliments here and there, which is awesome, I'll never knock that at all. But it's almost always purely that. And like there's no one's ever, everyone's uplifting other people, which again is also great, but then they're not patting themselves on the back saying they're doing a great job as well. And I try to encourage more of that, like give a balance. Like obviously don't be the person that's completely selfish, don't be self-centered. Like, you know, don't be the type of person that's always trying to look out for themselves, or any cosplay move you make, it has to benefit yourself. Like that I also don't like as well. But if you're the type that uplifts people, and that's also like kind of giving yourself a pat on the back, you know, I feel like you're a well-balanced person in terms of how you're behaving in this community.
And it really is just all about balance. I mean, balance in many things, whether it's hobby or career or, you know, anything else that you might be involved with.
This was the topic of the of our first talk, finding balance, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Now, see, we could go with the title "Keeping Balance" or "Maintaining Balance" for this episode. We'll see. I'll see what works.
You're the creative one. You whatever you feel is good, run it by me. We'll figure it out. It'll be a good topic though. I trust you.
Yes.
It'll be a good title. Sorry, title. I trust you.
No. I appreciate that, but I also appreciate that we can discuss as many topics as we do. I mean, there's always more good issues to discuss, and you always have such great insight about all of those things that are happening inside of the community. I did want to go back and well, I guess first I also want to shout out Liza Cosplay, because you know what, she really puts so much effort into all of the characters that she puts together. It's freaking fantastic every time that she gets in front of a camera. She is one of the hardest workers that I know inside of cosplay, and not just with cosplay, but just in general as a performer. So my big shout out to both of you. Really, when you get together,
Thank
like
you.
it's just fire. It's there's so much good chemistry. You guys look amazing.
Thank you.
So there's a little bit of a shout out for both
No, I
of you.
appreciate that, Scott. I appreciate, and we shout out you for everything you've done now leading into this fourth season of, like just taking on these different cosplayers, and like you don't even care if they have 1,000 followers or 50,000 followers. You want to get to know them. You want to take every cosplayer who has a story, has something to say, who wants to spread positivity, and I appreciate that you always give me that platform. I don't mean, and I don't mean to say all this saying I want to end the conversation, because I definitely don't want to end the conversation, but I definitely want to give that sentiment back, because I appreciate what you just said right now. So
Oh,
thank you so
well, no, thank you. I mean, and that we can, well, that it is a forum, like I've always said, 4 seasons of people having a space to share their stories and cosplays, and
much.
that that number doesn't always reflect all of the amazing things that people do in this community.
Yeah,
I mean, you're going out and you're engaging at the cons, you're doing a lot of shoots.
yeah,
There's all this work going on behind the scenes. There's charity events, there's
yes,
group shoots, there's just a ton of stuff, and it's all this is not necessarily something that you're getting paid to do, right? Like it's kind of self-financed to at least a large extent for many people
yeah.
in the community. So
The vast majority of
always,
people that are in cosplay, it's definitely self-financed, and if you're making money in cosplay, I fully support you. There's totally nothing wrong with that. Whether you're making a cosplay for something, whether you're making a product, whether you're selling something that a cosplayer could use, I totally support that. But yeah, for the most part, it definitely is a hobby. And you mentioned the charities. I definitely want to do more of that. It was something I always wanted to do, even before COVID started. But during the pandemic, I definitely got to do some things, mostly online, obviously. But looking forward to doing more as this pandemic's lifting, and as the summer, as things are getting warmer now over here. So hopefully can do that with some of my cosplays. Big plans for my Kylo cosplay to do something like that. Probably going to work with the New York Avengers at some point. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. So
oh, that's great news. Yeah.
yeah. So definitely big shout out to them. I've been rolling with those guys, with that whole squad. Even going back years, even when I started back in 2019. So
Yeah, for quite
to
some
finally
time. Mhm.
to to I as of right now, I don't know what's going on, but I'm definitely going to be doing more with, let's just say I'll be doing more with them in the coming future. So
And no, really, I just appreciate all the effort and thought about reaching out into the community, getting involved with the groups that do give back, because that's also, just
shout out to
part.
all
That's
those
just part
groups
of it.
that always give back, that always do anything for charity, or that just want to show up to events and do anything for the kids. Yeah, big shout out to everyone. And yeah, the New York Avengers are definitely doing more charity meets as summer goes on here. So and I can't wait for that. I'm really excited.
To get into a couple of the issues, actually, I guess just in a general sense, do you feel that we are still facing the same issues as cosplayers coming out of the pandemic now, getting back into the swing of more of the engaging offline places that we are more familiar with? Just to rattle a few of these things off, the low organic engagement online,
Yeah.
harassment, that sort of lack of recognition, which we kind of talked about a little bit, just like the big accounts getting more of the attention from like the surrounding industries and things like that.
I will say this, a lot of people still, they're you're talking about going before the pandemic. going through the pandemic and then after, with everything that's going on in social media. And I'm gonna try to put this as best as I can, but it seems still that you know a lot of cosplayers, in terms of what's said, in terms of harassment, in terms of bullying, in terms of shit talking, anything like that, you know they're most brave on social media. There was like there's stuff here and there that went on during the pandemic, while there was no one going to cons. And I know, and a lot of people I know were going through stuff. A lot of people, a lot of people is where cosplay becomes a lot of people's identity. And for some people, cosplay is what they mainly do in their life. Obviously, or they go to school and they do cosplay, or they work and they do cosplay, or they kind of go to school, they kind of go to work, and they mostly are just focused on cosplay. And even if they have, and even if they have a good life, or they have like everything together in their life, that still mainly might be their hobby, or their main hobby that they go to. Someone like me, someone like other people that I know, or a lot of people I hang out with, we have a lot of different interests. It just seemed like everyone kind of either wanted to, a lot of people saw their friends again. A lot of people, there were certain people that kind of squashed things, which was great. There was certain things over the pandemic people said that, it was just the stress of what was going on. And a lot of people came back, and just some people just acted like as if everything was the same, even though they might have chatted online. Now, it was nothing I was involved with, but there was a lot of things I was seeing that was going on. I went through a lot of stuff growing up, and now I'm at a point in my life, older, where I know how that feels, and I want to give back positive energy, because I know how it feels to be treated a certain way. So it's like I wouldn't want anyone else to feel that. Unfortunately, some people, they go through stuff in life, and their thing is, well, you're going to feel what I feel because I'm upset. And and that's unfortunate. But yeah, I think now though, as of late, since we've been kind of far removed from the pandemic, if we're still out of it, I don't think we are. I think things have definitely settled down a bit. I think everyone, not that everyone knows what they kind of want to do, but I think for the most part, people, in terms of in terms of I think, trying to find the words for this, but I think people now are kind of just focusing on either what they want to accomplish, as their, and also at the same time just sticking to crowd that they're with, and either just, and just kind of from there. So I will say, it was kind of a curve in terms of like how things maybe peaked, in terms of like how things, maybe there was drama, maybe people were stressed out and things like that. It did get a certain point, but I will say it's declined. Um, I would say, for the most part, a lot of things, a lot of people on social media, it's not as there anymore, which is really nice to see. I think a lot of people, they went through a lot of stress throughout this pandemic. They kind of realized that, okay, we were bickering over something that was stupid, something you can easily squash, something you can easily talk it out. And that's what happened. And like I said in our last chat, if throughout the pandemic, or throughout a certain period of time, you're not talking to someone, and you may think there's miscommunication, or you may think like there's something underlying, or something that you might not be on the same page, something in your head, speak out, not speak out, reach out, speak up, communicate, and then you might be surprised that you guys just talk it out and everything's cool again. And even if you may not be the same friends in the same way, at least there's no stress in wondering, oh, like, does this person have a problem with me? Are they going to say hi to me? You're either friends, or you just say hi, and you move on. But that's the key thing, to come full circle with all this communication. The social media communication, it's not to knock social media. Social media could be great in its own way, but the communication on there, it's definitely lacking. I know I went onto a tangent into one aspect of what you wanted to talk about, but to finish on one other thing, with the popularity of cosplayers, because you brought that up as well. Um, yeah, that's like I said, I give you a lot of credit for bringing on guys like me that don't have, a huge following. Um, as someone with a lot of followers, they're going to get people reaching out to them and doing promotions and stuff like that. Yeah, it's going to happen. They have a lot of followers. If they promote it on their page, the promoter, whoever they are, they're gonna that's their way of finding and getting a lot of attention. However, I feel like just kind of investing into cosplayers that that are really all about that really put a lot of effort into the cosplay and that really want to show off something they're proud of and they made of. I think there's something to be said about that, because there are a lot of cosplayers with only maybe 1,000, not even 1,000, not even 2,000 or whatever. And I've just seen some amazing work, and I'm just like, how do you not have 50,000? How does this person have 50,000 and you have like 1,000? Not to knock the person that has 50,000, but it's like, oh my God, like you're doing something amazing. Like you deserve, all this attention. And sometimes there's certain circumstances why someone has more followers. I mean, some of them are obvious, and I don't really want to go through all of them, um, but yeah, to my point there, it is what it is. I'm not going to knock, they deserve it. They have a lot of following. They worked hard for a while. But I would like to see more people, and especially companies or cosplayers that have a lot of following, bring someone of a lower following on and just kind of push that positivity going forward. Because at the end of the day, especially in this community, not saying that you can't look out for yourself, but looking out purely for yourself, at the end of the day, it might not get you that far, as opposed to someone who not only looks out for themselves, but looks out for other people as well.
I will play Donkey Kong with anyone, regardless of their skill level. It's just that I might not get to play as often if the player is very good at only spending one
Exactly.
quarter. But it doesn't really diminish my enjoyment of the game. So
Exactly.
awkward metaphor aside, it's I guess the strange thing that happens with large and maybe this isn't always true, but it seems to me that like people reach a certain level, they don't engage as much online. They get a little bit different when they go to cons.
Yeah.
And it seems like they have like gatekeeping and just thresholds for things that
Yeah.
there
And a lot
really
of those,
aren't any rules for. Like, I don't know
there
where these
aren't,
rules come from.
there aren't rules. And also, I also don't want to knock the people that get to that level, because like a lot of those people do try to work hard, and they do try to market themselves, and they're outspoken, maybe a little bit more extroverted people who could have more communication with everyone. And there's all these little intricacies and all these little things that you kind of have to do to maybe like put your name out there that maybe other people don't do, and maybe they do it and they still don't get the attention, and that's very unfortunate. Another thing is the algorithm as well. That's that's another thing that's been kind of hitting us badly lately. I don't know if it's the time of year. I don't know if cosplay is not big right now, but it's been sometimes that, sometimes when like right now I'm putting out a lot of good Kylo cosplays and the algorithm's not really grabbing it. I'm just like, what's going on here? Because I'm getting a lot of like, holy crap, I thought you were Adam Driver. And I'm like, it's not like, it's not sticking though. I'm getting a lot of these Adam Drivers, but it's not like, I got this other post getting 600 like a few months ago. That's not me looking like Adam Driver. And I'm like, what's going on here? What's with the algorithm, And to tie in what I was saying before about the bullying, that's another thing that, if you stain someone's name, or if if you talk a lot of crap and you stain someone's name, or if you talk a lot of crap to someone where you discourage them from really like participating a lot in cosplay, that can hinder their growth as well. So that's another thing that has to be. So that's another thing. And I don't mean to go back to that, but that's one thing that really irritates me with the just all the chatter, just hearsay, and you're just like, oh, I heard this, and like what's going on in your life that you got to do that. I think it's better to just uplift people and you know, it's cosplays for everyone. You don't, it doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter the size of, it doesn't matter the size of your body or anything like that. You can cosplay, you know, any character you want. Now, I mean, if you're putting a shoot together, you know, that's a different story. You could choose who you want to have in your shoot. But in terms of like criticizing someone or saying someone's not valid enough or anything like that, like, you know, I don't like things like that. I don't like things like when things like that are said. Like I said, it really discourages people. You know, and there's just a lot of hypocrisy to it as well. Like, you know, people people do these things themselves, and then they'll criticize, and then they'll just criticize someone else for doing it as well. And I'm just like, you know, like what are you doing? I heard Denzel Washington say it in a speech, but I know it wasn't his quote. It might have been Maya Angelou, I'm not sure, but it goes, and I might insult some people doing this, but if you feel insulted, then the shoe fits. Small minds, small minds talk about people. Good minds talk about events. Great minds talk about ideas. You know, I don't really like to talk about people unless, you know, unless it's a certain, you know, unless it's a certain situation where you kind of have to talk about it, then that's one thing. Other than that, I don't like to. Of course, we all love to talk about events, and I think you and I are the type of people, and we're surrounded with people that like to talk about great ideas. So and that's my favorite one of them all. I'm always the type that wants to talk about ideas or going places or stuff like that. Maybe at some point I got sucked into that thing of like, oh, this person, that person, and maybe in the beginning of cosplay, and you know, I kind of regret all that. But I've always been the type that loved to talk about ideas, whether it was in science, and I like all these, listening to these podcasts and just things of that, and things of that nature, you know, and events like sports. I'm a big sports nut, so
I like to talk to people who talk about ideas, or I like to bring to light the individuals that have the big ideas and have things to talk about. Not that I necessarily need to talk about people, because I don't really care for gossip, and I've who knows what people say about me. They're probably like wondering when I'm actually going to start pushing out a few cosplays. I'm honestly terrified for a couple of them that I'm working on right now.
Someone's gonna be like, oh, that's ScottyB guy. He interviewed this person, and this person did this to me, and like, you know, I had this experience, and like, like you don't listen to Anthony on this podcast. He was this person, or he's associated with this person, so that means he's not a good person at all because he associates with them. And I'm just like, oh, stop it. Like that's the other thing that upsetted me. Like just dealing with people like, oh, you shouldn't associate with this person because of blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, man, yeah. And like, and most of the time you get to know them and you're like, this person's not that bad at all. Now, you know, maybe there's something I don't know about. You know, if they did, like, if someone does something tragic, sure, like they're a bad person. But it's like, you know, in my mind, if it's just like, if something petty was done to each other or whatever, then it's like, you know, that's what, you know, that's between you and that person, you know. Like, you know, I'm not, like, obviously it's if you're like, if it's your significant other, or if it's like a best friend of yours, obviously there's loyalty there. But other than that, the rest of it, it's just like, especially if it's like, oh, I heard it from someone, or heard it from someone who heard it from someone. It's like, I played the game of telephone in school, guys. Like, I know by the time it reaches my ear that the story is like twisted in so many different ways. So, you know, I anyway, I got to stop talking about all this stuff.
No, yeah, I mean, I totally understand. I guess from my perspective, if the episode makes it to YouTube, then I don't think the person said anything bad about me. So
exactly.
I wouldn't
Exactly,
I
yeah.
wouldn't publish the episode if there was like a lot of like controversy between
Exactly.
me and one of my guests. But the whole idea of cosplay is to kind of assume a different character and to be free to express one's fandom and appreciation for said character. So the what we do to bring attention to that's one thing, but what we do to diminish other people's experience is not always. So like, I don't know if we always think it all through. And, you know, maybe people are using social media for their own means, for their own gains, for different things that really don't need cosplay as a medium. I think you could do just about anything. Like you could just, you know, wear your Black influencer t-shirt and do the same stuff. But you know, just being part of the community is really where it's at. And I guess you know, putting on the show and being able to talk to people has I guess been kind of my entry point. It's just always so interesting to hear from everyone, especially yourself, Anthony. All the insights and all the things that go on as you know you move through your journey in cosplay. One question I did have for you is kind of the maybe not the long-term picture, but the like the horizon for you. Like, do you see things speeding up or slowing down for the kind of content that you're producing, or the different shoots that you're working on over the next couple of years? Or you know, as we get into the second half of 2022, looking at, you know, New York Comic Con coming back around again. Like what kind of goals do you have for yourself, your cause plans? Is there anything that you'd like to share as we kind of round out the episode?
Before I answer that question, because I have definitely have a lot to say. I didn't mean to paint I don't want to, because I know we talked about a lot of positive things and a lot of different stuff about me, and then like the last 10-15 minutes I kind of went on a tangent about the negative things of the community, which obviously they should be spoken about. But I do want to say it, for as much judgment as there might be, or as much like chatter as there might be, the vast majority of the time there is a lot of uplifting, there is a lot of positivity, there is a lot of people helping you, there is a lot of people encouraging you. So I just want to make it known that you know, all that BS, all that negativity and all that, that's like, you know, that's a small section of it. The rest of it, you'll find a lot of good people that you can have a conversation with it, and a lot of times become friends with like that. So I just want to point that out and make that a huge point when it comes to the cosplay community, and also cosplayers in general, because you can always find a group of good ones. So and ones that, you know, aren't like, you know, bringing any drama or bringing anything he said she said or finger pointing or anything like that. So but from your question with a lot of cos plans and shoots and all that stuff, so I will be putting together a 7 Deadly Sins shoot. So I'm sure this podcast will release around that time, and I will be Bond, and I do have a whole crew, so that's going to be big as well. As a Nosuke, we're doing another Kimitsu-Con shoot, another Demon Slayer shoot in August, so that's going to be big as well. It's going to be kind of more of like an industrial scenery type of thing, so I can't wait till anyone sees those photos too. We're still planning ahead. I'm still helping out Reggie with that, so that's going to be big.
Nice.
Something Bleach related coming out towards the end of the year, so definitely stuff with the previous anime that's out, and definitely Bleach content that has to do with the final arc coming out as well. Excuse me. So that's going to be coming out as well. In terms of any new like any cons I'm going to, or any new cosplays that are coming out, so soon this weekend, as the recording of this show is happening, I am going to go to CradleCon, so that's going to be a lot of fun going on there. We're going to judge a cosplay contest, so that's going to be fun. Hopefully,
fantastic.
Hopefully I be a part of the panel and do all that stuff, and hopefully I meet some voice actors and other guests there. So it's going to be a whole fun weekend. I'm just only going to be able to make Saturday for that one. I'm going to bring Kylo Ren to that. So coming up, I'm going to go to Brooklyn Con in June. Not sure really what the whole plan is for that. I'm sure there's other smaller cons over the summer, but the big ones, like I said, towards the end of the year. I actually will be going to Dragon Con, and we do have a couple of surprise cosplays for that. That's going to be that's going to be something cool coming. Not something like traditional cosplay, but for anyone listening to this and going to Dragon Con, it's probably going to be something you did not expect. So let's just put it that way.
Okay. No, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
And then for NYCC, I'm definitely going to bring Kylo there. I I don't have a whole. I already bought the whole week, not weekend, the whole 4 day passes for it. So I will be there at least 3 out of the 4 days. I will say that. Definitely have to bring Kylo to that one. Everyone has to see it at NYCC. And I am doing a new one. The only hint I can really give is the MCU. That's the only hint I can really give. So the whole all superheroes under the mouse, Disney, all superheroes under the mouse. Yes, I'll be debuting something there. But when we get closer to the date, I'll probably post the whole lineup. But
can I see if I could get a hint? This will be a really vague hint, but is it one that we have seen in the MCU yet, or is it a character yet to be introduced into the MCU?
He's been introduced before. He's a pretty popular guy. I already have my tickets for Anime NYC as well, and one cosplay. I'll at least say that I'm doing. I will be finally. I've been saying this for a while that I wanted to do a Goku, probably ever since I started cosplay. So he will be there as well. Other than that of who will be with me, I'll kind of leave that out for everyone to probably make a best guess on. I'm sure there's a lot of great Dragon Ball fans out there that are really going to have a good guess at who Goku's going to be with there at Anime NYC. So that's one plan. There's another plan that's a surprise as well. So like I said, that'll be announced closer to the date. So but I'll definitely be there as well. I definitely have some other cosplay plans coming out sporadically throughout the year that may not show up at conventions. Like I said, there might be something from Bleach. I'm like trying to look at my list like right in front of me right now. Might be something from Harry Potter actually. So something people might not expect actually. So hoping once I get through all the books, all the books and the movies, she's very proud of it. All the books and the movies, you'll definitely be seeing a shoot coming manifesting from that. So and for sure, I don't know my Katsu plans, but by the time we roll around the next year, I'll probably be at Katsu as well. So and then in terms of like maybe a longer term goal in terms of what I want to do, like since the beginning, I always wanted to get to a certain level, to where a certain level of respect, a certain level of building like the talent in terms of how much I could show in terms of like my cosplays, like what I can bring to the table. I'm always going to say to myself, there's always more to do in terms of the cosplays, but I always wanted to get to a point where I wanted to do more stuff with groups, whether it was my own group or whether I joined a group, which that's in the process of having now. I want to do more charities. I want to kind of influence, have a bigger following to where I can influence more people in a positive way, and kind of lead people. And I want to do, whether it's like parties for kids and just trying to, like I said before, with the charities, and kind of like build a brand out to where I can do all these things and host my own like big event where I can have cosplay and bring cosplays and photographers together, and we have like everyone bring their own cosplays and we have this big shoot, and it's like so yeah, man, there's a lot of plans that are ahead.
We'll see. We will see. But if you do have an event to that magnitude, yeah, I will definitely sign up for any Anthony Cosjitsu cosplay community extravaganzas. That would be just, I think it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for your cosplays, man. I'm sorry to cut you off. I can't wait for your cosplays, man. I can't wait to see you at one of these cons and just kind of taking pictures with us and doing something very soon down the line.
I sure hope so. I got Dr. Fate. I got to fix the cape up and do that. I've got Joel from Last of Us 2 being worked on.
All right.
And that one scares the heck out of me.
Uh-oh. Let's go.
And then, boy, the other one that I would hope to have, maybe not this year, but we're going to do a little bit of Mr. Sinister, and then we're going to do a lot of Mr. Sinister, because I started I guess it was like trying to find somebody to fit that character.
Yeah.
I ended up pushing it onto myself. So as I asked around to see if there would be anybody interested in actually putting that on for this season, and maybe even being on and talking about it. But it's such a complicated, huge project, and it moves around a lot. I don't know if everybody always hangs on to that cosplay for a very long time, because it's just so big and it's a lot of maintenance. And he's just a really detailed character overall. Mr. Sinister's always been one of my favorite villains. I'm actually going through the X-Men 92, 97 cartoons on Disney Plus right now.
All right.
And
Yeah.
I'm to the episodes where Mr. Sinister's starting to get involved. I think it's like season 2 when they start to bring him back, and I'm like, oh, here we go.
All right.
I got to do the whole
Wolverine.
thing.
I love it. The way Wolverine was built, 5'2", 300 pounds.
That's right. Yeah. Well, and Adam, I think we forgot that adamantium weighs a lot.
That too. Yeah.
It's kind of heavy. That's why.
That too. Yeah. It's not supposed to grow you. Yeah. Anyway, we don't have to get into semantics. We're fine.
But yes, thank you so much for being on the show, for coming back. Of course, as I said before, you're welcome anytime. Just jump on, and I'd love to have these kinds of discussions, and just to hear about all the fun and fantastic things that you have been up to in the community.
Oh yes. Most of it's fantastic, I promise. Regardless of anything I said, most of it's fantastic.
I know folks probably know from before, but where can we find you, and how can we support you online?
Yeah, so it's Anthony Cosjitsu for Instagram, for Twitter, for TikTok, which if you haven't seen a video uploaded in a while, it's because I haven't uploaded a video in a while. I gotta get better with that. You could also find me on YouTube. I think it's under Anthony Cosjitsu. You could probably find the link in my link tree in my profile. I also probably have like a Twitch link up, but that's always like once in a blue moon type of thing. But most of the time, if you really want to hit me up, you could I could say you can mostly for the main part, I really, as a cosplayer, in terms of my communication, really just hit me up on Instagram, and we'll go from there. If you're cool, we'll I'll let you more into my life with everything else. So so we'll just go from there. Yeah, hit me up on Instagram for the most part, Anthony Cosjitsu.
Fantastic. Yes, thank you so much. It has been just a blast talking to you once again, and certainly hope that we have many more conversations here in the future. So friends, there you have it. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in and watching and listening online. This is ScottyB and Anthony Cosjitsu here on the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary, saying bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everyone.